Hi everyone! So the long-awaited tie-dye bracelet tutorial is now here, and I feel like I say long-awaited all the time. I always take forever to get my tutorials up because I have so much homework and stuff to do. But anyways, this design is based off of my original Mickey Mouse body, so this is basically one of Mickey Mouse's bodies. I came up with this bracelet like 5 weeks ago. But I am so busy and haven't had time to post the tutorial because I've gotten a lot of requests for other newer designs. Anyways, so yeah, this is a pretty old bracelet, and I am so sorry that I made a lot of you wait for like forever. But finally, a tutorial is here. This is an incredibly hard bracelet to make just because the transferring half of the bracelet onto the other half when you make this is very difficult. Like, I cannot stress enough how difficult that is. It was a lot harder on camera than I thought it would be, so yeah, it is pretty difficult. So I would definitely recommend only advanced and like really experienced loomers to make this bracelet. So anyways, now without further ado, we can now get started with this super cool and crazy tie-dye bracelet. So today you will need your loom, your hook, and as many colored bands as you'd like. I recommend using 2 or 3 or more colors. No, I would definitely not do one color just because it kind of ruins the effect of the tie-dye thing. But anyways, you'll also need a C-clip, and the amount of bands you will need is about like 165, somewhere around there. Kind of ranges depending on your wrist size for the extension piece. You can also use 2 looms and make 5 of the sort of dot things on the bracelet just to make it so that way you don't need an extension and you have dots going all around your wrist. But that's totally optional. Today I will be showing you how to make it with an extension though. This hook is the new Rainbow Loom hook that will be available at the web store starting on about March 7th, 2014, so that is coming up pretty soon. It is this Friday at the time of me uploading this video, but go ahead and keep checking on their website to see if they have it in. And everything here is from the Rainbow Loom web store. I'm using turquoise jelly, rose jelly, and white. And now without further ado, we can now get started. So if you've made my one loom Mickey Mouse, you would know that you do kind of like half of Mickey first and then make the other half and attach them together. So that's pretty much the same thing that we do on this tie-dye bracelet since it is based off my Mickey Mouse design. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically make half of the bracelet, so like semicircles going down, and then we will make the other half of each of the semicircles and then make a extension chain for that. So this is going to be kind of time consuming. It's not extremely difficult, but it is somewhat difficult. So now we can go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with our looms, arrows pointing down for all of this project. I personally just, this is a personal preference, so this is how I will be teaching you guys to do today. And yes, one of my arrows is gold because I colored it with metallic markers, so yeah. So I'm going to be alternating between my 3 colors here, so I'll probably need to reach into my bag and grab more bands later on since this obviously is not enough bands for me. But anyways, I'm going to go white, blue, pink, white, blue, pink, so I'm not going to do anything fancy. So I'm going to start with my first color, and we're going to make the right half of this first. And then take my blue, that, so for each of the bands I'm putting on, I'm just alternating my colors. Okay, so we've basically outlined half of our hexagon, so it's trapezoid, I think. And so now we're going to move on down, and basically what we're going to do is outline all of it first, and then we're going to start doing the rest of the inside stuff. So I'm just going to start again and make my second half of my hexagon. Oh. And I'm trying to go slow here so that way you guys can see what I'm doing. But this is all single bands, by the way. and making my third half of my hexagon now. And I'm basically just at the bottom of my loom here. So, okay, if you're not to this point yet, go ahead and pause the video. If not, I'm going to show you what my loom looks like right now. So basically I've kind of got this half of each hexagon sort of shapes here. And now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start doing the sort of inner zigzags on each of the hexagons. So if you're familiar with my Mickey Mouse design, this is pretty much almost the same thing. So, it does not matter what color you start with. I'm just going to continue on with my color pattern because since this is tie-dye, it's okay if the colors match up together like that, or if they're different, it really doesn't matter because tie-dye is pretty like mixed up. So I'm just going to go white, blue, pink again. So and I'll zoom in a little bit so that you guys can see a little bit more of what I'm doing. So everything from here goes off of this middle pin here. Okay, so I'm just going to stop for a little bit so you guys can make sure that you have the same thing that I have here. So it's kind of almost like this zigzag pattern, and I've just gone white, blue, pink all throughout here. And so we're going to repeat these same exact steps for the next two half of our hexagons. So I'm going to go down here and do the same thing. So I ended on a white band vertically here, so I'm just going to start on a blue band. Okay, so this is now what I have on my loom. So just make sure that your loom looks like this, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the next half. And so I ended on a turquoise jelly band, so I'm just going to move on with pink now. Okay, so this is now what I have on the bottom of my loom here, like this. And so now we're going to go ahead and go back up to the top of our loom, and we're going to kind of line the insides. This part is really easy and fast. So this part, like I said, is really easy, so I'm just going to take my first color and we're going to connect these two pins here. And we're basically connecting these inner spaces here, so like that. So I've basically made this chain that goes here. Go down to the next one and do the same exact thing. So like that. Go down to the last one. Like that. So now we're going to go on to the last step. So I'm going to scoot back up to the top of my loom, and I'm just going to change my color pattern and go pink, white, blue, just to make a little bit more of color variation here on my hexagons, just because I don't have that many colors. I'm only using 3. So I'm going to start with my pink, and I'm going to go vertically. So I'm going to take white and go to this next pin here, and to this pin here. So I've kind of got these going off of this pin. And I'm going to take white, go vertically here. So for these 4 bands in the middle, I'm using random colors just because, I don't know, I feel like using random colors because there's a lot of places where there's multiple bands of the same color, and because I am weird like that and have to have everything evenly spaced. So yeah, and so you're just going to move on to the next one and do 4 more bands that go off of this middle pin right here. So let's see, I'm going to start with blue. So I've got my 4 that are here in the middle. Move on to the last one here. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and wrap cap bands around, and you can use any color you would like for this. It won't really be visible after you finish your bracelet, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to start here at the bottom of my loom, and I'm going to take white for this and wrap it around each of this middle pin. So as you can see, we've got 5 pins on this left side of a single half of our hexagon, and I'm just going to go onto the middle one here. And I'm going to wrap this around 4 times around that middle pin. Like that. So I'm going to scoot up to my next half of my hexagon here, and it's right here, and find the very middle pin on the left side. I'm going to take a white band and wrap it around that pin 5 times. 4 times, what am I saying? Wrap it around 4 times, sorry. And go up to the last hexagon up here, or half of our hexagon, and you're going to wrap a single white band, or in my case white, around 4 times. 2, 3, and 4. Like that. I have a band under my loom. Okay, so now please make sure that your loom looks like this, or similar to this, doesn't have to be the same colors. And we're going to add 1 last cap band onto the bottom. I'm going to use white and wrap it around to this very bottom left pin 3 times. And this will just be a little bit useful later when you are connecting your bracelet ends together, so it can go around your wrist as a circle. So now we're going to go ahead and start the hooking process. You're going to start on your very bottom half of your hexagon, so this is where the bottom of my loom is, and we're going to work from the cap band and go outwards. So we're going to start on our cap band, reach inside and kind of circle around, and then you're going to grab this turquoise jelly band here and hook that downwards, like that. Next you're going to go inside, grab the white band, and hook this. All of our bands are going to be hooked from the bottom upwards, so when you're hooking, it's going to move from the bottom up. And lastly, this band here. So like I said, work from the bottom up. So we're going to go into this turquoise jelly band and grab these perimeter bands that go around here. So inside, grab the rose jelly, fold it over, and lastly hook this upward here. So you should now have something like this, and we're now going to do the big zigzag section that goes around. So go inside here and grab this rose jelly band and hook this downwards. like that. Hook the next one over. Like that. So you should now have something like this, and we're going to continue on. So all of these bands are getting hooked outwards, none of them are going to get hooked inwards. And now these last two bands here. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to the next kind of section here. So now we're going to go ahead and start with the next one. We're going to skip doing these big perimeter ones for now, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. So once again, start at your cap band and go inside. Grab the turquoise jelly band and hook that downwards, like that. Now we're going to hook the white one, and I'm probably going to stop talking since you've already done this once. So you should now have hooked all those 4 bands that go outwards, and we're going to move on to the inside perimeter bands. And now we're going to do the big zigzag perimeter. Like that. And do these last 2 here. So if I've gone too fast for you, go ahead and pause the video or rewind, do whatever you need to do. If not, we're going to go ahead and move on to the last half of this last kaleidoscope. I'm thinking of the kaleidoscope bracelet. The last half of the tie-dye bracelet. And I am trying to hook slowly so you guys can keep up with me since I hook really, really fast. Okay, so now we're going to grab this next one. Okay, so I've now hooked this inner perimeter here, and we're going to finally do this last big zigzag here. Okay, got it. Okay, so now I'm gonna get, I am done. If you are not finished yet, go ahead and pause the video. If not, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a run through of what I have on my loom here. So basically this is what I have, and I'll freeze this spot here so that we can see what I've done. But now we're going to go ahead and hook all the perimeter bands that go around the big outside edge. So you're going to start at the bottom of your loom, with your loom's arrows pointing down of course. And we're going to start in this bottom pin where we put the cap band. And go inside all of those bands, grab the bottom single band, and hook that to the top right. Hook the next one to the right. And this part is fairly easy, just make sure you go inside of all the bands that are on the pins. And basically this is kind of like a single chain that outlines everything. So I've closed off this whole side. I'm going to go ahead and start doing the next half of my hexagon, my second hexagon. And so now I have finished my second hexagon's hooking process that goes around the perimeter. And I'm going to go up here and do the next one. Turn the corner here and go vertically now. And then close off everything. Okay, so now I've finished hooking everything on my loom. If you are not to this point yet, go ahead and pause the video. If not, I'm going to show you what my loom looks like now. So basically this is all the hooking processes here. And now we're going to go ahead and remove everything from our looms. So if you, what am I going to say? If everything matches on your loom, go ahead and remove everything, and I kind of just removed this already. But make sure you leave this one end right here on because this is a loose end that doesn't have anything connecting it. So yeah. So this is now what I have, and if you want you can give it a couple stretches so you can see what it's going to look like, but this bracelet is crazy. It's totally tie-dye. So anyways, now we're going to go ahead, and as you can see we have basically literally half of our circles here. So we're going to go ahead and make the other half, and then we can make an extension, and then we'll be done. So you're going to leave this hanging from this pin at the top of your loom here, and we're going to start with our loom's arrows pointing down once again, and we're going to do basically the other half. So we made the right half last time, and so now we're going to make the left half of this. So I have a C-clip mixed in with here. So yeah, we're going to set my hook aside for now, and we're going to start to do this side. So this is basically going to be a mirror image. So I'm going to start with my white again. Go diagonally, and I'll zoom it a little bit so that way you can see a little bit better. And so in case you don't remember what we're doing, we are outlining the whole entire thing again. Like that. So I've got half of one. I'm going to do the same thing again. So I finished another one here. And finally going to close off. So if you're not to this point yet, go ahead and pause the video. If not, I'm going to show you what my loom looks like. So basically I've got half of those. And now we're going to make the inner zigzag kind of formations that are on our loom. So once again, I am going to skip this pin right here. So we are not going to put a band that goes vertically, because on our other half we already have a vertical band. Then there'd be 2 vertical bands. So we're going to just skip that band basically and go straight to the next band that goes diagonally here. And we're going to skip this vertical band here at the bottom as well. So anything that's going vertically on our very right pin bar, we're going to completely skip that band. So you're not going to do that band that comes next right here. Go ahead and skip down to the next hexagon, and we're going to skip this vertical band again here and go straight to the next one. Again, we're going to skip this vertical band here and move on to the next one. And again, we're going to skip this very bottom vertical band here. So if you're not to this point yet, go ahead and pause this video. If not, go ahead and make sure that your loom looks like this. And if so, we can go ahead and move on to the next step. So we're going to do the inner perimeter of everything. So I'm just going to start off with my bands. Like that. Start on my second one. Kind of pull this part. And my third one. Okay, so if you're not done with doing the inner perimeter bands, go ahead and pause the video. If not, just make sure that your loom looks like mine. And it should be about the same, since this is not a very hard step. And next we're going to do those bands that go outwards from this middle pin. So you're only going to need 2 bands for this. So first we're going to skip this vertical band here. So go straight to the second one, which goes diagonally that way. And now you're going to take another color, and go in another diagonal motion, and you're going to skip the last vertical band here. So basically you've just put 2 bands that go diagonally, none of them are going vertically from this middle pin here. So if your loom looks like that, then we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one here. So I'm going to like that. And sorry, that's my heater in the background if you heard that. But again, we skip these vertical bands here. And so now we're going to move on to the next one. And I'm going to go ahead and put so 2 bands there. None of them are vertical. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to transfer our extension piece. So before you do that, on your way up to the top of your loom, make sure your loom looks like mine, and also push down any of the bands that are on the very right pin bar. Like that. So I'm just going to get my bands out of the way. and use your hook and grab all these bands that are on the pin. There should be 4 bands here. And so I have this chain on my hook now, and we're going to transfer this chain onto this top right pin. So I'm going to grab all these bands, stick my finger inside, and transfer them to this top right here, like that. And so here is probably the hard part. So we have to connect the left side bands onto the right side of our loom. So you're going to go ahead and we're going to do small spots at a time. So first you're going to find the cap band that's in here. So I'm going to kind of, zoom in. Use your hook and you're going to find the cap band in this half of your circle here. So I've found my cap band. Should be pretty easy to spot. It should be a circle here in the middle. You're going to use your hook and stick your hook inside of the cap band here. So it's inside. So once it's inside the cap band, you're going to find the middle pin that is on your circle that is on your loom. So mine is right here. And I'm going to stretch down with my hook and transfer this cap band onto the pin. Like that. So from a far distance view, this is what it looks like. Basically, I've chosen the middle pin of this one half of my hexagon or circle, and I've transferred the cap band from the first one on my chain here onto this. So you should have something like that now. So now I'm going to go ahead and transfer the next one onto my second half of my hexagon. So you're going to go up to your chain, find the cap band again, here. Stick your hook inside and stretch down and find the next middle pin, which mine is right here. I'm going to stretch down and transfer your cap band onto that middle pin there. So you should have something like that now. Now you're going to scoot down to the next half of your hexagon. Find this half circle here, get the cap band onto your hook, and stretch it down and transfer it to this middle pin here. Like that. Now we're going to transfer this last one onto here. You're going to transfer this last cap band that's on the bottom here that we put on. So find that cap band. It should be triple looped. Pick it up with your hook and stretch it down to the bottom here, onto the very bottom pin that's on your loom. And sorry, I have a wall back that way. It's over here, so I can't really stick my loom back there any farther. So now we're going to attach on smaller other pieces of this big chain that's already done onto our loom. So this is one of the hardest parts. You are going to stretch this out here, and you're going to find this place, and this is where my pink and white bands intersect each other. And so I zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so here is my pink and white band that are intersecting each other where this blue band's bottom is here. So I'm going to stretch it out, and you're going to use your hook and insert it where they cross, like that. So I've inserted it where they crossed. And I'm going to attach it onto the pin. If you're having trouble finding this, then you just want to grab random bands and attach it on, because in the end you won't really be able to tell where they are. This is just if you want it to make it like exact. And then transfer those onto that pin there. So you now have attached those onto the pin. Go ahead and scoot down, and you're going to find the next empty pin. This should be the one that is directly after your cap band. And you're going to stretch it out, and this one's easy. This one is this giant loop here that's underneath my cap band. And so I'm just going to grab this giant loop and attach it onto the cap band, like that. Next, you're going to go to the next empty pin, which should be right below it, and you're going to go ahead and try to straighten out all these bands here. Yes, I know that there are a lot here. So for this part, you're going to turn your loom sideways, and what you're going to do is you're going to start on the right side. So you can see I have this big pink loop here, so this is basically the attachment of where my two half circles meet on the string here. If you can't see that, here's one half circle, here's another half circle, and this is where they meet here. So what you're going to do is turn your loom sideways, and you should have one band that's stretching a lot downwards and then two bands that are connecting to each one of these sides. And what you're going to do is start on the right side. You're going to go you're going to act as if each one of these white bands here act as there's 1, 2, 3, 4 bands here. So you're going to skip the first band and go inside and grab this second band here. So I've grabbed the second band from the right, and now you're going to go ahead and go inside of this big pink loop. So go inside of the big pink loop here. So I've gone inside, and then you're going to grab this first band on the left and pull it over your hook, like that. So you have something like this. I'll show you another time. So I've got 4 white bands. You're going to go grab the second one. So I've grabbed the second one. Then I have this big pink loop that stretches downwards, if you can't see that. So you're going to go inside of the big pink loop, and now this is how my hook looks like. You're going to grab the first band that's on the left and pull it over your hook. So stick your hook inside, and you should have something like this. So now what you're going to do with this is you're going to attach it onto the pin. So with this, you're going to kind of stretch your hook over the pin, so that way you can attach this on. So stretch those bands on to the pin, like that. So I'll show you another time. So if you're still holding on to those bands, basically we've held on to it like this, and we want to put it on our pin like that. So we want to get this left side on the left side of our pin. So you're going to stretch it all the way so that way all these bands go to the left side, and then hook these over, like that. And that's probably one of the most difficult parts. So now you're going to go on to this next band here, next pin here, and you're going to attach the bands again. So this should be another one of the places where two bands intersect each other. This time for me it's blue and white. So you're going to stretch that out a little bit, and I have a band holding onto my hook. You're going to stretch that out a little bit, find where the blue and white bands intersect each other, stick your hook inside and grab some of those bands there. So stick my hook inside, I've grabbed the bands, and now I'm going to go ahead and transfer them onto this pin here. So I now have something like that. Now I'm going to skip down to the next one that's empty, the next empty pin, and we're going to transfer one of those big large loops. So for me it is, let's see, it is this one right here, this big blue one here. So I'm going to just grab it. It should be connecting to the cat band here. And now here's another one of those hard pins. So go here, and I've got 2 white bands again along with a large pink loop that is going downwards and around. So I'm going to go inside and grab the second white band here. Grab the second one. Go inside of this pink loop here. Go inside. And then grab the second one here. And if you're wondering where to go inside the pink loop, just stick your hook and go downwards. So go downwards, and then grab the first white band on the left and pull it over your hook, like that. If you're unable to do that, just grab random bands and then do this next part. So you're going to stretch over the second pin, and then pull all the bands that are on your hook over to the right side. So only the bands that are on your hook get to go over to the right side, like that. So we've done one of those hard parts, and now we're going to go down to the next empty pin, stretch it out, find where 2 of the bands are crossing each other. So there's a blue one here and a white one here, and I'm going to go inside where the blue and white cross and transfer those onto the pin, like that. And now we're going to go ahead and go to the next empty pin here. This pin should be getting one of the large bands. So if you stretch out the bands that are coming off of your white cap band, then you should see one that is the last loop that goes downwards. And you're going to grab that loop. For me, this is my turquoise jelly. and I'm going to stretch that downwards like this. So we are now done with the extreme hardest part. Yes, I know this is very difficult. That is why at the beginning of the tutorial I said that this was an extremely difficult design. But anyways, now we're going to go ahead and start the hooking process. So we're going to start at the bottom of our loom and go inside the bottom cap band and grab the top band. That should be going to the bottom left. Next band, that should be going to the top left. Now we're going to scoot up our loom and go to the next cap band. And hook those next two bands. So it looks like that. Now you're going to scoot up to the next half here and go inside the cap band. Grab the band like that and grab the next band. Like that. So now we have now hooked the inner bands that go outwards, and we're going to hook the perimeter bands now. So scoot back down to the bottom of your loom, and now you're going to go inside and grab that band, inside again, and inside again. So you have something like that. Now we're going to go up to the next half. Okay, so you should now have something like this, and now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next half. Like that. So now you should have all the perimeter bands hooked, and you can see what they look like as I move downwards. If you're not to this point yet, feel free to pause the video, just because I am going a little bit faster now, since you should have an idea of what we're supposed to be doing. So now we are going to hook this next band that is a part of the big outer zigzag. Circle around for that one with your hooks, that way you can grab those bands. And be careful when you're hooking downwards, because it is easy for you to get bands that slip off of your hook. So you should now have something like that. And now we're going to go ahead and move up to the next one and do the next hooking process for the zigzag. Like that. So you should have something like this now. Go ahead and move up to the next half of your hexagon. Go inside this large band. Okay, so I've now finished hooking all the zigzags. If you are not done with that, go ahead and pause the video. If not, please make sure that your loom looks like this. And if so, we're going to go ahead and do the last step, which is hooking the outer perimeter bands. So this part is fairly easy compared to what we've done in the rest of the tutorial. And now make sure you go inside of all the bands here like that. And now hook the next perimeter bands. Oh, lost a band here. Okay, so I just did that because I accidentally let go of my band, but now it's all good. So I'm just going to continue my hooking process. Okay, so I did go pretty fast during that, so if you're not done yet, go ahead and pause the video. If not, your loom should look like this. And if it does, you can go ahead and remove everything from your loom except for the bands that are up here on this top right pin, because there's nothing holding on to those. So this is what I have now, and I'm just going to give it a couple stretches just to even everything out. But yeah, this is what you should have now. And now we're going to go ahead and make an extension for this. So this personally, I think it does depend on your wrist size. For me, I have really tiny wrists, so I will probably need maybe 8 to 10 links for this, but you just need to make it as long as you need to. So I'm just starting with my loom's arrows pointing down, and I am just going to take double bands. And I'm not too sure how long I'm going to make this extension yet, but I'm going to try 8 first, probably, or 9. So I'm just going to go vertically down. Oh, and I'm using double bands for this, by the way. Okay, so I have made a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 links on my loom. And I'm just going to go ahead and see how this turns out. So I'm going to show you how to transfer this. So you're going to take your hook, stick it inside the pin with all the bands on it for your bracelet, and pull that off. And there are a ton of bands on here. Like that. And you are now going to transfer this onto this very bottom pin here. So since there are quite a few bands on here, you can transfer them like 2 at a time if you'd like, or you can transfer them all at once. I'll just do 2 at a time. Oh, let go of this band here. And I'm currently saving my bracelet. They all fell off. Okay, so I recommend transferring all of them at once, just because, as you just saw, that is not safe to do 2 at a time. And I'm just going to stretch it downwards so that way my pins can kind of hold onto this so it's not flopping in my way. But I'm just going to hook this single chain here, and I am not going to show you how to hook it just because if you were able to make this bracelet so far, then you should be able to make this. So I'm just going to hook vertically. Okay, so I'm just going to hold these bands down at the end of my loom and remove everything else off here. So now with that, that definitely does not seem long enough for my wrist, so I think I'm going to do 3 more links. So I'm just going to start with my arrows pointing down again. Like that. So I have those 3 links there. I'm going to take my hook so I can transfer these double bands here onto the bottom here. Like that. And then go ahead and hook again. Like that. So since I am very sure that this is going to be okay for my wrist, I'm going to go ahead and take my C-clip now and attach it onto all of these bands here. And so I've got my C-clip on all those bands now, and I'm just going to remove everything. And so this should fit my wrist because I have really small wrists. And so I'm just going to use my C-clip and attach it to this white cap band that we put on the end of our bracelet earlier. So just find the cap band that you made and attach your C-clip onto those 3 loops there. And we are now done with this really cool and really fancy tie-dye bracelet. So thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. Thumbs up if you made this successfully after watching this whole entire video. This is a very crazy and just a really fun looking bracelet, and I think the name tie-dye suits it pretty well. So don't forget to give this a thumbs up like I said earlier, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, and Twitter. All my links are in the description box below. And once again, this is based off of my Mickey Mouse body design, so if you have made it, then yeah, you should have done this a little bit easier than those of you who haven't made it yet. But if you would like to make it, a tutorial for Mickey and Minnie on one loom is on my channel, as well as 2 loom tutorials, but the 2 loom tutorials are old ones, so I don't think that my teaching is as good in them, but you know. Anyways, once again, thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial, and I will see you guys later. Bye!